Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Pan Future Society podcast. I am your host, Sean, and today is Saturday, February 11th, 2017. So I was talking to a friend earlier this week who is also a fan of the show, and she admonished me for never telling anyone that the music that you hear at the end of the show is mine. In fact, all the music throughout the show I created, and I thought it would be kind of a sneaky self-promotional way to always stick a full-length version of one of my songs at the end of the show. And I think I've mentioned that I'm a musician and promoted my websites or something like that, but I probably never actually said that, yes, I made that music. Some of it is entirely mine, some of it is a band I have with another friend and fellow musician. And if you want to check out more of all that music, I'll put links in the notes, and if you go to the About page of the panfuture.org website, you will find links to all the different kinds of music that I make. All my music is available for free downloads, so you can go to the Bandcamp sites and put in 0 for a price and get it all for free. And check it out. If you feel like donating instead of getting it for free, I would greatly appreciate that. But thanks, Julie, for reminding me to not be afraid to promote myself. And now on with the news of the moment. First this week, some robotics news. A factory in China has replaced 90% of its human workers with robots. The Changying Precision Technology Company works on mobile phone production and has automated production lines and has further automated its production. The factory used to have 650 employees, but now just 60 people get the job done there, and robots do the rest. The general manager has also said that the number of human employees required will drop to 20 in the near future. Not only have these robots replaced most of the human workforce, production in this factory is up by 250%, and defects on the product line are down by 80%. So not only are there far fewer human workers, the robots are better at it. And I certainly think this is the trend, and can definitely possibly be the trend in just about every single job out there. Some of the studies, like the ones by Oxford University, I think that there's an over 90% chance that robots will take over a very long list of jobs, everybody from masons to watch repairers to salespeople, butchers, polishing workers, dental technicians, rock splitters, gambling dealers. Robots can take just about any job out there. And as one of my themes for the year, jobs, the question is not if, but when, and will we be ready for it? How will we handle a time when there simply aren't jobs, not because they've gone somewhere else in the world, but because robots are doing them? And now,
it came from outer space.
In space news, I guess it's not exactly from outer space yet, but NASA has released a detailed report on the proposed Europa mission. This report, you can download a PDF of the whole report if you would like to read a very long and complex description of the whole thing. So I guess this report is their proposal and a lot of detail on how and why they will do things. But from the report, as a summary, Jupiter's moon Europa is a prime target in our exploration of potentially habitable worlds beyond Earth. Europa, which is approximately the size of Earth's moon, very likely harbors a global, approximately 100-kilometer deep liquid water ocean beneath its relatively thin, less than 25-kilometer ice shell. This ocean exists today and has possibly persisted for much of the history of the solar system. Europa's ocean is probably in contact with a rocky silicate seafloor, which may lead to an ocean rich in the elements and energy needed for the emergence of life and for potentially sustaining life through time. Europa may hold clues to one of NASA's long-standing goals to determine whether or not we are alone in the universe. The highest level science goal of the mission presented here is to search for evidence of life on Europa. Interestingly, Congress has already funded this and is insisting that they actually land on Europa, not just fly around and look at it. The way NASA's budget works, when Congress approves funding for a given year, and they can earmark amounts in there for specific uses. And NASA's budget includes, for 2016, included $1.63 billion for planetary science, $175 million of which specifically designated for the Jupiter Europa Clipper mission. This has a target launch date of 2022. So not only is this taking shape, but somewhat surprisingly to me, the U.S. government is supporting this mission quite thoroughly. Also interesting in some of this budget information, the overall budget for NASA in the fiscal year of 2016 was $19.2 billion, which is actually $700 million more than President Obama had requested. So at least cross your fingers so far, budget-wise, everything is looking pretty good for NASA to get stuff done, including the possibility of sending a lander to Europa to look for signs of life. That's your news of the moment. On to the main segment. With this episode, I'm starting a run of shows about the future of food. From farming to production technology, there are many things just over the horizon that might not only help us feed ourselves, but may become essential technologies for feeding future space colonies and deep space travelers. It is often said that we are disconnected from our food. We don't really understand where it comes from or what it takes to get it to us. I grew up in a semi-rural community, and some of my classmates were farm kids. I remember very well visiting some of these farms on field trips. I don't know if kids do that anymore or if city kids even have that opportunity at all. I want to express my appreciation for farmers, something that is not done enough. They are the other 1%. As of the 2012 census, here in the United States, there were 3.2 million farmers running 2.1 million farms, and 3 million plus whatever we import feeds 300 million people. The vast majority of those farms, I saw some statistic that says 97%, are still independently family run, not corporate owned. Food production is an area of great concern and should be for more people. Changes in the global climate will shift weather patterns, move growing regions, alter growing seasons, and make other changes to the way we try to feed people. Some would say that right now we don't do a good enough job of that. Too many people go hungry. But that is largely a problem of distribution and cost, getting reasonably priced food to where people are living. There are places in the world where drought, disease, war, and other problems disrupt food production. But again, better distribution and more political cooperation can change that. We're not quite looking at cases where changes to our environment have made it impossible to grow food at all. To begin this outline about the future of food and farming, there are some cool ways that farmers are using technology, from computers and drones to possibly a future with self driving tractors. There are now farmers using drones to image and scan fields to reveal chlorophyll levels, irrigation problems, and even pest and fungal problems. In the past, it was possible to gain this information via manned aircraft at a cost of up to $1,000 per hour. Now farmers can own the drones and the technology they need forever for $1,000. Self-driving tractors could be smaller and lighter, leading to less soil compaction, a common problem when using big heavy tractors. They could also use swarms of smaller machines and could probably run them around the clock. Robotic systems are currently in use in milking facilities and in planting crops. Harvesting and weeding of fruits and vegetables are still largely done by hand, but I can't imagine that robots are far behind either. There are even people working on tiny drones that could be used to pollinate crops. Another way that farming may change in the future is through vertical farming and urban greenhouses, say on the rooftops of our city buildings. I have seen some great designs for vertical farming that would allow more food to be grown on a smaller footprint. These architectural designs can also be used in places like large cities where we've normally not had food production. If these and other greenhouse and growing designs prove effective, I can see them being used in space stations and other off Earth sites. Now, a topic that is likely to be a hot button issue for some people: traditional farming, which includes the use of genetically modified organisms, versus organic farming. The biggest point I need to make is that all the available data that we have now does not show any hazards from consuming food made from GMOs, and organic farming uses pesticides. One more time, organic farmers use chemicals, sometimes in higher quantities and ones that are even more hazardous than the much maligned glyphosate. Organic farming can use more water as well because GMO seeds can be less water needy. Generally speaking, traditional current farming methods give higher yields than organic farming. Some crop yields are lower for organic by as much as 45%, and with modern technology, I think the yields are more consistent year to year. A few crops have shown higher yields with organic, but recent data shows that most of those are among silage and feed crops. In other words, more land must be plowed under for organics. Some USDA information I found indicated that organic farmers considered achieving consistent yield was difficult. If your crop is disease and drought resistant, you can better avoid a big loss should you have bad weather or blight in any given year. Overall, the cost of modern farming is also lower than organic, which helps farmers and consumers. It is, in my opinion, a harm to society that decent food costs more and some people don't have access to a good neighborhood grocery store. They live in food deserts, and bringing a smaller amount of higher priced food to market isn't going to help. Some other areas I will explore in the coming weeks' episodes on the future of food is in the area of food production. Some cutting edge things include using 3D printers to make food. Not only would this be an interesting way to cook on Earth, it is being researched by NASA and others for food production in space. I would also be very interested in trying some of the new lab grown meat. Yes, indeed, there are companies growing meat from lab cultures rather than getting it off the animal. Protein is a very good source of energy and nutrition in our food supply, and its inclusion in the diet gives a higher calorie per acre food yield than a vegetarian diet. However, understanding that some people object to eating animals, whether for ethical or environmental reasons, lab meat could fix this. And again, the potential solution to feeding a Mars colony, as the meat can be grown repeatedly from a small cell culture. As research continues, I expect more wild ideas to become reality. I think we are just a few steps away from that Star Trek food replicator, right? That's how it works. So hang around for the next 3 or 4 episodes or so, and it'll be all about food. Now I'm really hungry. I do these shows early in the morning, and I have not had breakfast yet. I've had some coffee, probably not enough. But now it's time to go get some food. All right, that's the show for the week. I still haven't had any food. Um, but nonetheless, thank you, as always, for joining me here. I do appreciate it. I appreciate your feedback and your input on the show. And yes, if you do want to check out my music, go to panfuture.org, go to the About page, click the links there. I'll try to put them in the show notes as well. And if you would like to help out the show with a donation, links are on the website. Or, as always, you could donate something for the music. Or other ways you can help out, write reviews on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you happen to get your feed from, and share it with your friends and family as well. That always helps. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I will talk to you again in the future. Oh, hey, one more quick thing before we hit the song for the end of the show. This song is written by my friend and compatriot in music, Brad Klotz. This song appeared on the prog rock band Strangeland, our album Delta V, a few years ago. And this song is Tetsuro in pursuit of oneness with his instrument.